Yes, yes.
Whatever you want to do.
So I was supposed to speak today, but I bask in the shadow of my illustrious godbrother, who gives to me what are amazing discourses on Krishna consciousness. Amazing class. If you listen very carefully to what he is saying, then you will definitely become enlivened in Krishna consciousness in your spiritual life. He actually, to me, he's very, from what I can perceive, and I'm a very neophyte beginning devotee, even though I've been in the movement so many years, but I can perceive that my godbrother here, Brittaleswar, he's actually very, very self-realized. If you listen to him, you'll be able to perceive that also, because he gives only pure Srila Prabhupada. You can tell that he's really read Srila Prabhupada's books very, very nicely. And so that's all I want to say for now. And I'm also eager to hear Brittaleswar give some talk. I just hope that you can all hear him clearly, that he speaks loudly and audibly enough for all of you to hear. And thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you for the much needed. Yes.
Okay. Can I have a pair of cards? Something with a little length on there. Something to hold on to. Okay. You have another pair?
Yeah, give him
longer.
No, that one's better. This one is better.
Yeah, they can hold on to them better.
Move closer. Is that all right?
Can you all hear?
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
They can hear?
Yeah.
Move a little bit, he said. It's okay.
Yeah.
So our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, was very fond of this chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. Just in the beginning of all his talks and lectures and classes like this. Basically what Jaya Radha Madhava is a Prabhupada described as a picture of Vrindavan. Radha and Krishna are there, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai there, the gopis, the cowherd boys, everything like this. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, when he would chant it, he would be transported, practically speaking, there. So, okay, we'll begin like that.
Good. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. You were supposed to didn't come in. Want to start over?
Go ahead.
I'm
But softer, she said softer.
trying to go as soft as I can with
That's
these.
good.
my respectful obeisances unto His divine grace. We see Bhaktivedanta Swami 75.
Vishnu Priya, we can't hear. Can't hear.
Of
I
that
think you need a lap microphone, so that'll be helpful.
you, servant of Saraswati Goswami, who kindly preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Dev, and who are delivering the Western countries, of course, along with the entire universe also, which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama.
Hello, we cannot hear anything,
We
please.
can't hear.
Wait, can you hear now?
Not
No.
at all.
You need to
Okay,
speak
wait.
clearly and loudly. I told you.
Yes, I think it's something wrong with my laptop. So we're switching the laptop now. Okay, so, or can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can
Yes,
hear you.
we can hear you, but not
The problem.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Microphone. Bring closer to him.
Yes, you can start.
Good.
Yeah, you can start.
So usually you speak something from the Gita.
Yes.
Informal. Okay, so one of our primary texts that we refer to and follow, of course, is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the words of Lord Krishna. Bhagavad Gita loosely translates as the Song of the Opulent One, or Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Bhagavan means one who is replete in all opulences, unlimitedly and ever expandingly, all wealth, fame, knowledge, strength, even renunciation. We all have some of these qualities in minute quantity, but if you could find someone who had them all simultaneously and unlimitedly, by definition, that would have to be the all-attractive person. So Krishna means all attractive. And we have ample information exactly how he's all wise, how he's all beautiful, how he's all strong, etc., in the pages of the cream of the Vedic literatures, such as Bhagavad Gita, which I've already mentioned, and also Srimad Bhagavatam, another classic. The Bhagavatam is a commentary by Srila Vyasadeva on his own original work called Vedanta Sutra. It's considered the most authoritative commentary because it's by the self-same author. Who knows better? Our Srila Prabhupada, to illustrate this, once told a nice little illustrative story that once there was a politician, and it's sort of like a hobby. He was a novelist. He liked to write novels. So he wrote one novel and he entitled it Sahajan. And he gave a copy to a close friend. So his friend read the novel, and then after some time they met again. And his friend expressed that, I really, really loved that novel. It was really good. But one thing puzzles me. Well, what's that? I don't understand why you give the title Sahajan, because throughout the entirety of the novel is describing the activities of Aurangzeb, Sahajan's son. So I don't understand why you give the title Sahajan. So the idea is that the author, he knows very well. You cannot know by your guesswork. You can know only if he reveals. So then the author revealed that very similar to Krishna Lila, where Kamsa imprisons his father, the king, and takes over the kingdom, and is committing one heinous activity after another, this Aurangzeb does like that. His father Sahajan was the king, but he imprisoned his father, took over the kingdom, and was committing one heinous activity after another. And all the while, this is weighing very heavily on the heart of Sahajan, the king, in the jail cell. And because of that reason, Sahajan is considered the hero. Therefore, the title Sahajan. So again, the idea is that the author knows very well. You cannot know unless he reveals, like this. So we are receiving Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, similar classics, Vedic literatures, via the Parampara system. There are many channels out there, but most of them are not authorized. One has to be connected up in an authoritative way, properly. This is parampara. Of course, in this world, we have so many lines of succession and lineages, but they all have their beginnings in the annals of the history of this world. Parampara is imported from beyond this world. It descends into this world, and that is parampara. So one has to be connected up properly. It's not ordinary learning, A, B, C, D. No, you actually have to submit, not blindly, of course. You inquire, you hear, you observe, but then at a certain point, when your intelligence is satisfied to a certain extent, you're expected to take it up, to actually live it, and thereby positioning yourself for more complete realization, not just theoretical acceptance by itself, but actual experience and realization. And in this respect, sometimes Srila Prabhupada would refer to this Krishna consciousness as what he called the perfect theistic science. There's hypothesis, there's experiment with the process, and there's gradual results along the way. And ultimately, it's the most important science, the science of self-realization, which automatically includes God realization like this. Atato Brahma Jignasa is the aphorism in the Vedanta, meaning that now in this human form of life, we should be engaged chiefly in inquiring into the nature of the absolute truth. And everything else should be geared and managed around that, what is favorable for our advancement in spiritual life. The Gita also teaches us that we are spiritual ourselves in essence. We are not these bodies, just like our clothes. When the cloth becomes old and worn, we discard for a new set. Or your vehicle, you trade it in every so many years. So you're the person inside the cloth. You're the owner inside the vehicle. There's a difference, there's a distinction. So that's the beginning of spiritual knowledge or understanding. Putting our consciousness on the platform of transcendence, beyond the material platform. And then from there, we can make further progress. In the other species of life, there's particular kinds of bodies do not allow the consciousness to expand that far. Their whole scope of consciousness only has to do with eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and nothing more. We share these things with the other species, but we have an extra facility, atato brahma jignasa, the empowerment or ability to inquire into the nature of the absolute truth. So therefore, that makes it its real purpose, the real purpose of the human form of life. And how to engage in all of our other activities so that it is favorable is all outlined in the Vedic literatures very nicely in the parampara system. We don't have to guess or speculate, which is flawed. But everything is outlined very nicely. So it's incumbent upon us to take a little bit of so-called trouble, it's not really trouble, to make an investigation, become a little familiarized. And then when you understand things nicely, then you can live and act properly. And all your activities in life can be employed in making spiritual advancement. Even ordinary activities like cooking and eating. You're going to cook and eat anyway. So if you can do so and make spiritual advancement at the same time, why not do it? You're going to cook and eat anyway. So you cook for Krishna. He says from what categories he accepts preparations, foodstuffs, and what categories he doesn't. He's a person. He has likes and dislikes. So if you want to please someone, you find out what his likes are, and you don't author other things like this. So you try to cook nicely, but the main ingredient is actually your bhakti, your devotion. That's the main ingredient. Otherwise, we could hire some materialistic, world-renowned chef to come and cook at the temple. Maybe it would cook even better. But we're not going to do that. Krishna won't accept because there's no bhakti, there's no devotion. So we try to do as well as we can. But again, the main ingredient is devotion like this. And then in a sense, Krishna agrees to become the offering. Prasad or prasadam means the mercy of the Lord. And the Lord, yes, he agrees to become the offering. So after the offering, although he has partaken, he has tasted, he has eaten, everything is still there. So we don't lose out. So we're cooking for God or Krishna, so we're going to make it nice. And then we get to take the remnants. And there's no fear of falling down, becoming materially attached. Of course, for devotees, we should ideally want to only eat Krishna Prasad. Even if we see the same preparations in some shop, we should not be so inclined because it's not Prasad. Vegetarianism is not a big step, although it is, how to say, favorable. But the main thing is to make an offering of love and devotion to Krishna, like this. And then afterwards, the foodstuffs are sanctified. It is Krishna himself in a very palatable way. You're receiving him. Even while you're eating, you're making spiritual advancement. You don't have to take time out for these ordinary activities. Everything is included. It's constant like this. So there's a program how to be immersed 24 hours a day and everything connected up properly with Krishna. And in that way, you're making tangible advancement in the direction of Krishna. Strictly speaking, you could say advancement necessarily has to mean spiritual advancement. But because we ourselves, a living being, we are spiritual in essence. Again, we're not this body. We're not a product of the material nature. This body is, that's true, but I'm not this body. People say, what is the evidence or proof of reincarnation? Well, it's a constant factor, even in the same life. There's a nice verse in the Gita, very often quoted verse, that describes this very nicely. Dehinosmin yatadehi kavaram javanam jara, yatadihantana patir satana muyate. As the embodied soul, me and you, continually pass in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul simply passes into another body at death. A self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change like this. Why is he not bewildered? Because he knows what's going on. Everyone else doesn't have a clue. But we have experience of this. What is that experience? We all know that within the wombs of our mother, we had a body, a developing body, drastically different than this one, but we're still here. And then we took birth as a baby's body. That body's gone. We're still here. And then a little boy or girl's body, adolescent body, adult body, a little bit elderly body, etc. So we are encapsulated within these changes, but we're not the changes themselves. At least theoretically, philosophically, we should be able to begin to separate our identity from these external coverings, both gross and subtle. Even ordinarily speaking, you say my body, you don't say I body, you say my mind, my intelligence, not I mind, I intelligence. So who's the my? There is a distinction there, just like between the possessions and the possessor. There's a separation, there's a difference. If you can't make that distinction, then that's called Maya or illusion. So this is the beginning, ABCs of spiritual understanding. And then of course, from there on, there's so many other things to become acquainted with. So you want to say a few words?
No, I liked hearing from you.
Okay. Everyone is looking for fulfillment and satisfaction, happiness in life.
He said you can take some questions also if you.
Okay, thank you.
Like 5 to 10 minutes.
Another 5 or 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then he can take questions.
Okay, I'm getting a little input here from the audience. They say I can take questions after a while, so if they want, I'll do like that. So everyone is looking for satisfaction, fulfillment, happiness, of course. But materially, what do you get? Yes, there's some gratification of the senses, but it doesn't last. It begins to fade fairly quickly, whatever kind of so-called enjoyment it was, and at a certain point it vanishes. And most of the time, making you feel worse than you did before you had that so-called pleasure. I really yearned to get this. I finally got it, and now it's gone. Whether I didn't have it in the first place, I feel worse. Sometimes you may hear people express like that. But real pleasure is ever expanding, and it doesn't become lost at a certain point. But we think materially, so we think, well, we can't have that. It doesn't exist. I have to make some mental adjustment. You have to accept the good with the bad, and that's just life. Materially speaking, this is true, but spiritually speaking, it's not. There is another nature. of which we have information from the Gita and similar such literatures. Beyond this material nature, there's a spiritual reality, a spiritual nature. And because it's a different nature, it works by different rules. For example, in the material nature, I can't quench my thirst, where did I go? By chanting water, 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 water. Nothing happens. I need the substance. Look like I'm doing a commercial here. Anyway, you need the substance. You know what I'm talking about. There's a difference, but spiritually speaking, there's no difference. So we're chanting Krishna's holy name. Prabhupada has told us we should know that Krishna is dancing on our tongue. Krishna is fully present. In the spiritual nature, the vibration referring to someone or something is identical with that someone or something. It's a different nature, works by different rules. And we receive knowledge of that nature from authoritative sources, the cream of the Vedic literatures, such as I've already mentioned, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. We were having a Bhagavatam class earlier this morning in the temple, and I found myself quoting a verse that over the years, I find myself quoting it pretty often, actually, by a great personality, Sutta Goswami, who also appears in the Bhagavatam itself. But what he says about the Bhagavatam in this verse is very interesting. He says that idam Bhagavatam Dhamma Pradhanam Brahma Samitam Uttama Sokacharitam Takara Bhagavan Rishi Yishashada Kishadanyam Swasti Ayanamahat, which translates as the Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary, or you could say book, incarnation of God. It is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God, and it is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. So like this, Krishna is coming to us in so many different ways. And we all know that that which we associate with, especially very closely and on a regular basis, gradually we pick up the qualities thereof. So who doesn't want to become all successful, all blissful, and all perfect? Of course, most of us have a flawed conception of what that means. So first of all, we need a spiritual education. And we don't accept anything blindly. Everything is explained very lucidly from all angles of vision for the satisfaction of one's intelligence. Otherwise, if that were not there, then you'd always be in the mode of hesitation and doubt at least to some little degree. So your intelligence has to be satisfied. Just like the Gita, everything's explained very nicely. It's not just some blind belief system. So this should be attractive to intelligent people. Oh, I can actually employ my intelligence in spiritual pursuit? Yes, not only can you, but you must in order to succeed. Otherwise, hesitation and doubt will remain, at least to some degree. That has to be cleared. So with the superior spiritual knowledge of the Gita, it clears that. And then your path is wide open to full success, back home, back to Godhead. So they do want you to say at least a few words. So
Anyway,
just now,
take some questions.
we're going to hear from
No.
Drumila Prabhu.
Yes. Should I speak?
So they want me to say something. So just to please my hosts, Krishna must have some desire here. I feel at these times exposed to be the devotee that I'm not. But actually, one quote by Srila Prabhupada that oftentimes helps get me on track is that Srila Prabhupada said in a purport in the Bhagavad Gita that one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being fully condemned by the material energy. So that's our dharma. Our dharma is that we're all eternal servants of Krishna. Krishna, what is the verse in the Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya says, what is that? What is that verse? Jivara Swarupoi Krishnara Nityadas. Das means servant, Nitya means eternal. So we're not American or Indian or Russian. We're not Christian, Jew, or Hindu. We're not man or woman. We're not a doctor or a lawyer. These are false designations having only to do with the temporary material body, where the body took birth, what religion the body's practicing, what like that. So this is illusion when we identify with something that's temporary. So Um, actually, the greatest quality of Krishna is his compassion for the fallen souls. Prabhupada said that. That's the Krishna's greatest quality, is his compassion for the fallen souls. So the living entity, the soul, like he explained, Brittaleswar, we're not this body, we're any eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We're tiny particles of, how should I say? Anyway, Krishna, qualitatively, the soul is like God. He has some beauty, he has some strength, he has some fame, he has some renunciation, he has some wealth, like this, to a finite degree. But Krishna possesses all those qualities to an infinite degree. And he's the cause of all causes. He has no cause, like that. So in Krishna consciousness, there are two kinds of devotees. There's the Bhajananandi and the Goshtananandi. So the Bhajananandi, correct me if I'm wrong, is that one practices Krishna consciousness for oneself. That's all right. And one tries to make spiritual advancement, and he lives a happy life, a blissful life, a comfortable life, like that. That's very nice. Everyone wants happiness. Everyone wants to enjoy their life. So one can do that by becoming a Krishna Bhakta, a devotee of Krishna. But Prabhupada said a more superior thing is the Goshtananandi. It means that one is not satisfied to practice Krishna consciousness for himself and to be Krishna conscious for himself, but he is concerned for the welfare of others. In general, when we think of welfare activities in this world, we think of opening a hospital, feeding the hungry, clothing the poor, like this. But by doing those things, actually, philosophically speaking, we haven't really helped the person, because everyone is living out their karma. So we don't know what our individual karma is, just like we know all recently that building collapsed, 90 people died. That day, they didn't know that we were going to die, those 90 souls within those bodies. But somehow or other, it was their karma. So we have some good karma, some bad karma. We've done some good things in a previous life, some not so good things. So we are, in this life, living out, until we become pure devotees of Krishna, we're living out our karma. So we don't know what that karma is. We don't know when we're going to die. We see every day in the news, a whole family is wiped out in an automobile accident, like that. So the point being that people are suffering without this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. They don't know what, in the Bhagavad Gita it says, they don't know what is to be done or not to be done. They take religion to be irreligion and irreligion to be religion, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So people are in illusion, they're bewildered, and they don't know their ultimate benefit. They're thinking, my ultimate benefit may be to get huge bank balance, 5 cars in my garage, a beautiful mansion on a hill, a gorgeous wife or husband, like this. We may be thinking that that's the goal of life or the perfection of life. But even if you attain those things, you may not live very long to enjoy those things. And so hankering and lamenting, Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita. We hanker to get something material. We finally get that thing, but then we're in anxiety that I may lose this thing. We were stressed out, I may lose this thing. And then we actually lose the thing that was the object of our desire. And then we lament. And then we're suffering in that way. Like Brittaleswar often says in his classes, in the Bhagavatam classes in the temple in the morning, how sometimes you realize better I'd not wished for those things at all and gotten those things at all. And therefore, in Krishna conscious Vedic culture, detachment is stressed. And very advanced devotees, they lived under a tree every night, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, a different tree. They didn't want to get attached to the same tree. They lived under different trees. They ate very little. and they had very little possessions, maybe a loincloth, a gamsha, some cloth to cover themselves, a lota, for getting water, bathing, so on and so forth.
And a laptop.
Now he's making one joke, and a laptop. But so actually, but they were rich. They were rich in spiritual realization and Krishna consciousness, and they're enjoying unlimited transcendental pleasure at every moment. So they were not the losers to renounce material things, but they were absorbed in something higher, in Krishna, in service, seva, service to Krishna. So they're suffering, and so a devotee of Krishna, he cannot stand by idly. One who's actually advanced, he cannot stand by idly and watch people go to hell. Prabhupada said in the Bhagavad Gita in a purport that this modern materialistic civilization is simply gliding towards hell. And we can see there's hell on earth. There's so much horrible wars and torture and disease and famine and natural disasters like this. So a devotee, Prabhupada said, Krishna is more in anxiety for you to go back home, back to Godhead, than you are to go back. So a devotee, he wants to satisfy Krishna. He wants to please Krishna and serve Krishna in the best way. The best way is by giving Krishna conscious knowledge to others in the form of, you can always buy some of Srila Prabhupada's books and keep them with you. And then when you see someone in your travels or in your day-to-day life, you can hand them the book and you can try to get them to make some donation and and explain to them how by giving a donation, it connects them up with the speaker of the book. That's the tradition in Vedic culture, that when you give some dakshin, you give some to the spiritual master, and then, there's some exchange there. There's some, correct me if I'm wrong, you can, did I say something wrong just now?
You're doing okay.
I'm doing okay. So there's different kinds of gurus, and one of them is called Siksha Guru, which means an instructing spiritual master. So Brittaleswar, I look to him for guidance in certain matters, spiritual matters. Anyway, bottom line is, the Prabhupada said, save your countrymen, and also for the Indian, those are born in the land of Bharat in India, that they have bhakti in their blood. Prabhupada said that they should also, it's their duty to teach this Krishna consciousness all over the world, to spread it all over the world. So if we want to make the most rapid spiritual advancement and please Krishna in the best way, then we should cultivate an intense burning desire how we can deliver others by giving them some Krishna consciousness, by preaching to them, by giving them Krishna prasadam. It's very purifying. If they eat prasadam, they get benefited. By teaching them to chant the holy name, which is the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. God himself, as in his incarnation as Lord Chaitanya, personally did this throughout the subcontinent of India with thousands of followers. They went from village to village and town to town chanting this Maha Mantra. This is the great chanting for deliverance. Lord Chaitanya said, there's no other way in this age of Kali than chanting the holy names, chanting the holy names, for emphasis. He said it 3 times, each of those things. So I'm a little long-winded. They got me to talk now. I won't shut up. So I'm gonna stop here. Does anybody have any more questions or comments? Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, I offer my humble gratitude to all the assembled devotees, and especially Brittaleswar Prabhu and Drumila Prabhu, who both are fully renounced. You can see Brittaleswar Prabhu, how scientifically he explained the Krishna consciousness in a short time. So always we are looking for what is the proof of spirituality or renunciation. So Brittaleswar Prabhu is here. Actually, he proved through his lifetime. He came very big background, like the educated and a very exalted family, but he gave up everything to the lotus feet of Prabhupada, and he proved actually self-realization. And once I meet with him, I see all the time he is reading Prabhupada books and chanting. Even sometimes he forget the eating. You know, like in this lifetime also we can prove. This lifetime we can prove we can be self-realized through the bhakti. And our actually beloved, another my very good friend Drumila Prabhu. Actually, once we start program in Baton Rouge, he is one of the big support, one of the pillar to preach in Baton Rouge area. So I actually indebted to his feet, lotus feet, to give us opportunity to preach in this area. Really, actually, I will never forget his support, because beginning we are struggling, and there are many ways he supported. He came a couple of times and he visited Baton Rouge. So, like the preach this Krishna consciousness in Baton Rouge area. So thank you so much, Brittaleswar Prabhu and Drumila Prabhu.
Thank you for having us.
Drumila Prabhu is actually big quality. He distributes like the hundreds, thousands of books. Like his third biggest big book distributor in North America. So he convinced people, read Prabhupada books and get realization and get Krishna consciousness. So thank you so much. I think you have a lot of questions. We are very fortunate you can ask questions and they will give answer. Then we'll have Arati, and I'm requesting all the audience, please join every Sunday to get this bhakti and get this mercy and support this human mankind, especially in Baton Rouge area. Also invite your relatives, your friends, your well-wishers. They will get also Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much. Very well.
I have a question. When do they all get to come to your house again?
Once everything will be normal. Because it's still they're hesitant, they like to come to get prasad also. And we like to offer prasad, but so thank you so much. So I think we'll get some couple of questions from the audience.
Please feel free to unmute yourself and you can express your question or any comments.
Prabhu, you mentioned about types of or kinds of gurus, but how many types? Could you explain a little further?
I'm going to have Brittaleswar explain because he knows better than me. So
Well, the term guru is used a little bit loosely, especially in these modern days. In one sense, it can simply mean a teacher, but what we're speaking about is a spiritual master. So some spiritual masters, they, at a certain point, may initiate the disciple into spiritual life. Others may give pertinent spiritual instructions. In the words of a great personality, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a biography and also philosophy of Lord Chaitanya, he states that Shiksha and Diksha are equal and identical manifestations of Krishna.
But they may not know what diction is.
Yeah, let me get to that.
Okay.
So, Shiksha means instructing, and Diksha means who gives initiation. They have a little bit different roles. Krishna is satisfied when you become the servant of his servant. I believe it's the Padma Purana, I can't remember exactly where. The Lord makes one statement that he who says he's my devotee is not. But he who is a devotee of my devotee, he's actually my devotee. So this is Krishna's stipulation, his system. You become a loyal servant of my pure representative. And then you are connected properly with me. This is his prescription. So we have to follow the prescription. Just like you can't go to your local pharmacy and ask for any kind of medicine. They'll say, you have a prescription? Is it given by an authorized physician? Otherwise, how will you expect like this?
He also wants to know how many gurus.
I know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you talk during the Drumila show. I'll talk now. So basically, it's like that. Of course, how to say, the buck stops somewhere. Who you make ultimate surrender to. So it should be a natural process that over a period of time, by observing, by hearing, inquiring, you develop a certain degree of confidence and faith in a particular personality. And it should be natural. You should, and at a certain point, you may desire, I think I would like to take initiation from him because I have more confidence in him than I have in other devotees. So it should be like a natural progression like this. And because he's a servant of Krishna, then Krishna accepts your devotional service through the medium of that particular devotee. As long as we can muster up a little sincerity and seriousness of purpose, we don't have to worry about finding a bona fide guru. Krishna will give us guru if we are sincere and if we're serious. So part and parcel of that is investigating, trying to find out who's more sincere than me, who's more serious, and take their association. If you're actually sincere and serious, you won't be lazy in that respect. So Krishna wants to see this. And then of course he will reciprocate, he'll supply. We don't have to worry about that. Simply be sincere and serious. And as Krishna says in the 10th chapter of the Gita, to those who are constantly devoted to worshiping me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So the understanding, the intelligence, whatever is required, Krishna will reciprocate if you're actually sincere and serious. So I'm going to stop right there.
There's another type of guru. It's called Vartma Pradarshika Guru.
It's technical, yeah.
And that's the person who first introduces you to Krishna consciousness. That's also a type of guru.
It's also a kind of shiksha guru comes under that category.
Siksha means instructing.
You can break it down into many categories.
There can be many Siksha gurus in your life, instructing spiritual masters.
Ultimately, Krishna is guru. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is guru. And for anyone else to be guru, they have to be a pure, transparent, be a medium between us and Krishna. Then they can also become guru, but not otherwise. So therefore, the connection of parampara, the cyclic succession, is always emphasized. It's not enough to like hear from some materialistic, even if he's a Sanskrit scholar or a professor of Indology or something like this at some university or any such thing. No, one has to be connected up properly in order to have understand the import of the great literature. It's not ordinary learning, A, B, C, D. No, you have to submit. I think I alluded to this earlier. How do we become a shishya, a bona fide disciple of a bona fide spiritual master who himself is properly and tightly connected up in the parampara? Then you're let in, so to speak. Then you can have proper realization and understanding like this. You have to be willing to position yourself properly. And this is also a testament to your sincerity and seriousness of purpose. And Krishna wants to see this. And the bona fide spiritual master also wants to see this. And so if you can muster that up, do like that, then you're nicely situated.
But you've mentioned parampara twice. Do they know? Does everyone here know what parampara means?
It's cyclic succession.
Some know. Disciplic succession.
Initiated from or beginning from the absolute truth personality of Godhead. Like this.
Any more questions?
So that means there could be many Shiksha Gurus, but the Diksha Guru is one.
Generally, the initiating guru is one, but there could be many Shiksha Gurus, that's true.
Correct.
But even the Diksha Guru, the initiating guru, also your main relationship with him is also through hearing. You don't just receive a spiritual name and just stare at him. No, you hear from him, you become educated from him. So even he, the main relationship also is Shiksha like this.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Any more questions? Or reflections?
There is a question in the chat.
In the chat, what does that mean?
Yes, there's a question in the chat by Krishna Prabhu. He is asking, Is initiation important, or can we accept Guru with our heart?
It is important, yes. Otherwise, it would. Again, you don't have to worry about finding a bona fide guru if you can muster up some real, genuine sincerity and seriousness of purpose. Krishna will make all arrangement for you. Yes, Prabhupada quotes Rupa Goswami from his book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada gave us in a summary study entitled The Nectar of Devotion. One second, I lost my train of thought. That happens so occasionally. What's the question one more time? I'm sorry.
The question is initiation important, or can we accept Guru with our heart, within our heart?
It is important. Oh yes, the quote I was thinking of in the Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada quotes Rupa Goswami as saying that unless one agrees to come to the point of initiation, that what he calls the real connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. But again, you don't have to worry. If you're sincere and serious, Krishna will make arrangement. Even in Prabhupada's own life, of course, that's Leela. We can't compare everything in his life to ours, but some things we can. Prabhupada didn't take formal initiation from his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, for a number of years. But that was due to different circumstances. But he initially, he did accept him in his heart immediately, right away. And Krishna made arrangement for whatever reasons the Lord had to, that he would also become initiated, but not for some number of years. So we have connection. We have different kinds of connection, shiksha connection. And again, sincere and serious, Krishna will make arrangement in his own sweet time, not our time, but his own sweet time for Diksha to also be available to us. That will have full confidence or enough confidence in such a personality that will want to feel confident in taking initiation from this particular devotee, like that. So I don't know, I hope that covers what your interest was.
Thank you.
Anything more? Curiosities? Like what's that stuff on my page? Just kidding. Actually, Tilak also, without even saying anything, people are reminded of Krishna. Just like a policeman, you want to know who's a policeman. He has a uniform, so if you need help, you go. There's one I can ask help from him like that. So people can inquire in spiritual life. Oh, he's a devotee of Krishna. I can ask him. So, what did you say was next, Artik?
Yeah.
Unless there's anything more, maybe we can start Artik. You tell me.
If there are no more questions, then we'll end the discussion here.